that was the Denver game. And it might not be apparent in my voice, but I am currently recovering from what was another intense game that didn't have to be this intense, but it's just the Wizards' way at this point to make every close game as terrifying as possible. But hey, we won. The Wizards have now managed to win 3 games for the first time in 2 years, which, first of all, wow, kind of sad, but hey, we did it. And there was a lot to digest. Of course, when you're playing against an MVP candidate like Nikola Jokic and you're playing against such a high-powered offense like the Denver Nuggets can be, naturally you're going to be worried if you're a Wizards fan just because the Wizards defense typically has a lot of lapses and leaves shooters open regularly. It's almost as if our game plan is to pray that everyone misses. But to their credit, this time there was a different response. And it didn't start in the first quarter, because if you only watched the first quarter and understandably was just tired and frustrated and didn't want to watch the rest, I totally get it, because the Wizards went down about 20. Then he hit like a buzzer-beating, he hit a buzzer-beating shot, and it just seemed like typical Wizards basketball was going to happen. And in the second quarter, what they did was they actually started to fight back. Because that first quarter was full of Beal and Westbrook turnovers, absolutely atrocious defense, and just a sinking feeling of, we've been here before, we've seen this tune before, we've seen it so many times, and oh God, pain. But, like I said, after that quarter, it actually turned around, and I think it started on this Denny rebound that was a pass to Bertans for 3. Bertans, my God. Man went off. What also helped was the Lopez sub, I want to say in the first quarter as well, but towards the first, it was quickly realized that Mo as a matchup was not going to work against Jokic, and so Lin was subbed in, and Lin started getting eaten alive, and it's like, okay, Nikola Jokic, MVP candidate, I get it. He's going to eat teams alive. It's nothing new. He's so crafty and such an incredible passer that you kind of accept that there's just some shots that he makes, and you're just like, okay, I play good defense. I don't know what else you want me to do, because there's just some shots he made in this game where he was just we were playing great defense, and he just made it. But what happened was he was seeing a lot more bodies than he was in the first quarter. It was a lot of single coverage at first, where he would just kind of set a pick and then get in the post by the elbow and just go to work and just catch him on a pump fake, get a foul, and one, boom, done. And he just was continuing to do that. But then Lopez and the others stopped jumping on fakes. Now, Mo Wagner didn't get back in the game, and it actually was a sensible decision due to the fact that matchup-wise it wasn't working out for him. And what they did was, like I said, they didn't jump on pump fakes, and Lopez started seeing multiple bodies when he caught the ball. And what also helped, too, is that when there was pick and rolls, the guards would start to try and stay home and fight over these screens. So that way, when the center had to come out and show, which just basically means on a pick and roll, the center will kind of, sort of, not really commit to a switch, but just show enough hands to, deter the ball handler from trying to go further and then have to move back. That's usually what I talk about when I'm talking about mobility for centers, and how Lopez typically isn't really the best. But in this game, Lopez did a really great job of trying to defend Jokic. Again, he's an MVP candidate. He's going to score. Jamal Murray, also great offensive talent, and was definitely almost going to be the killer because, so first quarter, you can throw it in the trash. Second and third quarter was a lot of Wizards ball movement and that beautiful play and hustle that you want out of this team. Even if they aren't going to be good, it makes the team just bearable to watch rather than hijacked possessions where the ball is just clanking off the rim and nothing is really being created, nothing is really being made, and it's just kind of garbage basketball to watch. Instead, there was hustle. Like I said, it started with Denny. Hachimura started scoring. Hachimura got an and one. Rui got an and one. Neto was going in the lane as well, getting shots, and they were frenetic on defense, having active hands. And like I said, really holding off Jokic is what helped, because Jokic and Murray are pretty much the lifeblood of the offense, and if they are even somewhat stagnant, it does make it a little bit easier. We were still leaving them open for threes and whatnot, and we let them back in the game later on, but to be able to hold those two off really made it easier. And when guys like Hachimura and Neto are contributing, it really helps. But the biggest contributor was Bertans. He had a career high night, like 35-something points, and it was almost ruined, but we made it. We made it out alive. This was even one of the games where Brooks didn't make too many detrimental decisions. I think towards it was just a late game decision making was leave a lot to be desired, but whatever. Bertans, he unlocks the offense in a way that we haven't been able to see, because a lot of his shots that were clanking and missing were also from so far. So when they bounce off the rim, they're bouncing pretty much into the offense's hands and giving them damn near a running start. So when you have that, it makes it even harder to play decent to efficient transition defense. And a lot of his shots missing, unfortunately, did that. But this game, oh my! Every shot that went up had to be a make. It had to be a make, and it was crazy. I think he only missed one. His first miss was in the fourth quarter. He hit his career high, and when he's shooting, even though they're somewhat difficult shots, even Matthews started taking. We were like, that's Bertans' range, because Bertans' range is he's usually coming off like a little bit of he curls off a little bit of a screen, and he only needs like 2 inches of space, and he just throws it up, and he's getting fouled, he's getting shots, and it helped because since his gravity becomes a thing, then Russ is able to play make and Beal is able to play make, and when they started playmaking as opposed to sort of just isoing, it also helped a lot, because now you have the threat of the pass, and when the threat of the pass is existent, it means your offense is less predictable, and when your offense is less predictable, the defense has to scramble instead of be sort of connected on a string. Now you have great defensive teams like the Raptors and the Heat who can be so connected on a string, it doesn't matter how many unpredictable things you throw at them, but in this game, you see the significant difference when Beal and Westbrook went, okay, we got to stop turning over the ball every 30 seconds, and we got to just start passing and moving and attacking, because now it's coming out more naturally. It's flowing, and it was beautiful to see. Bertans, with his career-high night, helping space the floor in the way he did. This is the game. This is the type of game that when you see him do this consistently, then it's like, okay, that's why you got $80 million. When you see the list of games from before, that's where the criticism comes from, and that's where it's like, okay, so we paid this guy to miss a bunch of shots, and he can't really play defense. So you would think, with all that this would have been an easy game to coast to victory, but the Wizards are not good at that. As Drugan said, it is human nature to sort of relax a bit after gaining such a lead, even though it really wasn't that much, especially the team that we're playing. And sure enough, Murray and Jokic, I think Jokic hit a three, and then Murray just started burying threes and hitting shot after shot after shot, and you're like, oh God, it's happening. And it started with the Jokic three, and then the lead just evaporated, and then suddenly we were tied. And the late game execution was perfect after Bertans managed to catch a 3-point foul. Like they fouled him on a 3-pointer. It's like, okay, he hits his free throws. I'm like, that's perfect, fine. Because prior to that, Russell Westbrook did the thing that we don't. This is the thing about Russ. I'm gonna make this really short. If he's just playmaking, he is great. He even had hustle plays that I really loved. And if he was just doing that, it'd be fine. But these random forays into just shots that don't make any sense. Like, you see him look at the clock, and you take time off the clock, especially when you have the lead, to make it harder for the offense on the other side to try and set up, because now they have less time. but he just randomly takes a pull-up mid-ranger, clanks it, and now we have to hopefully get a stop, which we did, and then Bertans got the three-point foul, and it was cool, and he made those threes, but we were like this close to this being a very deflated video, but I digress because we won. However, those type of decisions are really harmful, and Russ, as a playmaker, will be better. Okay, that wasn't as short as I wanted it to be, but it's fine. Bertans hits those threes, and then we go back on defense, and all we have to do is really just get one stop. And we fouled, which was fine. You foul in that situation when you have fouls to give, to take time off the clock, to force their offense to have to take a tough shot. And really all you got to do is foul one more time, and they have to take 2 free throws, and then you have the ball again. But we didn't do that the second time, so when they had 5 seconds, because Murray inexplicably the first time just tried to drive, and Russ managed to foul Jokic in time. But then, for whatever reason, the second time Murray gets the ball, because I think they ran the exact same ATO, and in the timeout play, Murray gets open on the same, damn near the same spot, and you're like, okay, just foul before he shot it, and they're tied, and we're tied. Oh no, they're tied. Oh my God. And then there was 2 seconds left, and you're thinking, okay, Wizards in a close game situation have to win, and that means they have to run a play at a timeout. And it was a beautiful one. Beal set a down screen to try and get Rui open, which it did get him kind of open, but then Beal ran again. He got the ball and managed to get fouled with 0.10 of a second. Like, it was 0.01. And I just know JaMychal Green is just shooting him. He's just punching himself in the knee right now, because I know he's upset. I know he's so upset because he was the one who fouled Davis on the 3-pointer that gave us the lead the first time, and then he has to be the one that fouled Beal, which gave Beal the game-winning free throws. And you just know he's kicking himself. But Beal hits the free throws, and we win. And my stress levels decrease exponentially. There was so much relief when I realized that we actually won the game. Also, I didn't mention it, but Garrison Matthews' defense is also just such a joy to watch, except for when he basically barreled into Campazzo. Yeah, I get that he was trying to help, and since no one came to cover Campazzo, it was just wild. But seeing him sort of try to not allow easy post passes and get steals and just moving so frenetically the way that he does, and hitting threes on the other side is just beautiful, and I wanted to make sure that I gave him his respect. I'm hoping he didn't get injured again, because when he ran into Campazzo, he came up and he was kind of hurting his leg, holding his leg a bit, and I'm like, oh no. But this is the third victory in a row for the Washington Wizards. This is something that doesn't happen often. Like I said, it was 2 years ago. I was 21. I was finally able to legally drink when the Wizards won 3 games in a row. And now I'm just 23. But cool. This is cool. Is this sustainable? Have the Wizards turned a corner? I am still personally adverse to say. I am not going to immediately, jump on this idea that they have turned a corner, but there are some promising signs. The team has had more active hands. This is the first time the team has responded to such a deficit and actually continued that energy instead of having it sort of peter out after a quarter. Because we've seen sort of the fake comebacks, and usually it would happen towards the end of the game when it's too late. But this time, after the first quarter, the team said, yeah, we actually don't want to lose. We want to win, so we're going to do the proper things to win. Random thing that I saw too, this is our 17th different starting lineup. We're tied with Brooklyn, which is not exactly a good thing, and I'd probably deride it more had we lost this game, but interesting. So to see if we've really turned a corner, we'll have to see how we do against a team, to see how the Wizards do against a team, which I believe we are playing the Lakers next. Oh wait, we're not even playing them. So it looks like the Wizards are going to be playing the Portland Trailblazers, the team that kind of sent us into one of our very many famous downward spirals as they torched us from beyond the line, and Dame punctuated that victory for them with a dunk after zooming past Russell Westbrook. So to see if this team has truly turned a corner, let's see how they do against the Blazers. If they can make it a 4-game winning streak, I'll start to maybe feel a little more confident in this team's ability to be able to not only respond to adversity, but maybe, just maybe, have a good 4 quarters. Because towards the end of that fourth, we almost gave this game away, and we didn't really respond until we were down 20. I'd love to see this team continue to do the good things that they did, but hopefully it's constant throughout the game and not having a letdown, especially because if you really still believe you can make a play-in tournament or the playoffs, this type of situation at the end of that game could have definitely gone awry. So yeah, just cleaning it up a bit at the end and playing with that ball movement and that beautiful, that was fun basketball to watch. Well, this guy says Portland seems to pride itself on being the pariah of weirdness. But Wizards have always been weird. Wizards have always been spunky. Wizards have always been different. Wizards have always been magical. So, in a duel of the weirds, I think Wizards could come out on top. But they just have to steer clear of being too normal. Can they do it? We'll see.